The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies. My name is Jack, and I bring to you a very special episode, the Adepticon 2024 interview episode, where we have several interviews done by Duncan, one with myself. I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now. He was left unsupervised with possibly a bottle or 5 of bourbon. So I don't know what he said or talked about, and in case it gets bad, the views and interests that are said by him may not necessarily align with the podcast. Yeah, I think I've distanced myself enough. Yeah, so buckle up, enjoy, and I will see you on the tail end.
Joseph, all right. It's end of Thursday. Your first Adepticon. How did it go? What do you think?
I think it went pretty well. I definitely learned a lot about how wrong my general impressions about the heresy community are.
What do you mean?
So, I am very fortunate in that I have a small community that gets together and plays every Sunday. Between 4 to 8 guys every week, get together, roll dice, joke around, talk about playing the game. Today I played in Zach's attrition event, and I felt like the list I brought today would have been annoying at my local events, like the local weekly meetups, but nothing that was going to be seriously... I brought this list before, and I've only lost against the guys I played with, right? Like, they know how to deal with it, they know how to play.
If you're playing the guys you play with, of course you're only playing them with this list. You're either only going to win or lose against them with this list.
Right.
If you're not playing anyone else, it's kind of hard to win or lose against them if you don't play against them.
Sure. Maybe I over-prepared? Is that a thing that one can do in Heresy?
What do you mean?
You can over-prepare in like anything.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I've been, I don't want to say perfecting, but like working on this list for about 4 months, getting it ready and to go, and I am not super financially able to pull together a bunch of different army types, so I have kind of like, I would say I am experts at this list in particular. So like, I know this list top to bottom, I know what it does, I know how I can make it at least seem like a good time, and I know when to like push it and when to pull it back.
Okay.
I'm very confident with the list. Today I had 3 opponents, and it felt like only one of them knew how to deal with me. So like, for background, I do play Storm Gauntlet. Everyone, insert eye roll here. But I'm very willing to charge people. I'm very willing to, get into combat first, so I don't get my 4-up reroll. It's not a big deal to me. If it seems like it's going to be a close fight for the warders without the 4-up reroll, I'm going for it. And so like, I had some moments today, like my first opponent played Mechanicum, and his Castellax, it's the big heavy support robot, right?
Sure.
So, it could have done so much damage to my army today, but he misplaced where his Cortex controller was, and so his big 300-point robot got to stomp around and mess with whatever it wanted, instead of what was tactically advantageous. And so, like, what basically today, what anything that could have gone wrong for my opponents basically did. And so I feel like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe it's me.
What do you mean by you're the problem?
I don't know. I felt...
Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
Did your opponents have fun games?
I think 2.5 of them did. I think my third round opponent did not... And I will say this. I understand that Stone Gauntlet is not always the most enjoyable list to play against. But I went up against an Alpha Legion player who brought a bunch of bikes with a bunch of different anti-infantry weapons. And instead of, skirting around my movement 7 dudes and just shooting them off the table, he fed me 2 or 3 squads one after the next. And he was super frustrated because he took, what are the White Scars special bike guys?
The Golden Keshik?
Yes, so he took Golden Keshik, and he charged my Warder squad with my Praetor. So that pushed them up to weapon skill 6, because they were Solar Marshal, and they got +1 because they were charged. He only landed 3 hits, and they were all Brutal 3, and my 3 Warders saved all 3 Brutal 3 hits. Super frustrating from his end of the table, I'm sure. And so, his attitude shifted and was super, different. But, what he immediately forgot was not 5 minutes before that, he took 7 of them off the table with Volkite Carvers. So, I don't know... I don't know if it's just, I play Heresy weekly, and I know a lot of those guys don't get that opportunity or chance. And, it's day 1. It was the first event, so maybe the rest of the weekend is going to be a very different experience. But I can't tell if I was over-prepared or if my opponents were under.
Okay.
Zach, it's day 1.
It is.
The end of your day 1 at Adepticon.
Yes.
The tables are set. The games have been played. How did your day go?
This has been the most calm and peaceful day I've had in a couple of years. Previously, it was just Dan and I, running tag teams and attrition, and this year...
This year you had Dan cubed.
This year I had Derek and Derek and Derek.
Derek cubed.
There were 3 Dereks, and they had everything planned out and figured out, and from registration to setting up tables and having each round ready to go. I mean, that was fantastic. I just kind of let them go in their capacity, and everything was nice and smooth. I'm really excited after this nice dry run to see how things go. I'm really excited for tomorrow for doing the same thing with 100 people, or slightly more, maybe. So yes, today was fantastic.
Favorite moment of the day?
Just having people come in and say that, hey, this is their first Adepticon, and that they're enjoying themselves. It was what they had heard that the Heresy community was, because they came up from competitive 40K, which that's a thing that happens. It's regularly happening now. But it's good that they came up from there, and it's a super chill atmosphere. People just getting along and checking out other people's paint schemes, and I think everything's fantastic. It worked out really well. It works out well every year, but this year just seemed, I don't know, just seemed a little more special. I don't know why.
All right. Well, thank you. And I will talk to you later.
Yeah.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
Ned, tell me how your Adepticon has been so far.
It's been pretty great. Played in the Fearix events, got to enjoy the Solar Ox, and definitely getting confirmation that they play entirely different than everything else, and you kind of have to expect them to play differently.
How so?
You know, every game is an attrition game. George, do you think that's true?
What now?
I said with the Ox, every game is kind of an attrition game.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, George agreed if that didn't work out.
Trying to get your armor to somehow survive through
Yeah.
first turn, and then you're just pulling mass amounts of infantry off the table.
Right.
But they're dirt cheap.
They are pretty cheap.
And they will do surprising things given the opportunity.
The last rifles do more work than you would think.
They do a lot more work than you think.
Yeah.
So do crack grenades.
Yes.
Yes.
Who did you fight?
I played against John Christensen, and then a guy that I just met for the first time named Chris from Toronto.
How'd your first game go?
The first game was pretty great. It was Ox versus Ox, so it was kind of silly. And there were a couple of interesting interactions. Basically, we're looking at the fact that because both of us have tercios, shooting each other ended up being more painful for the person who was shooting than the person who was being shot at. Because, more squads can pile in on the return fire that way. So at least once I started losing all my models, I just started pulling my line troops away and putting them on objectives, which is actually what gave me the win in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
I actually only played today in the team game with Jack, and I'll talk about that on the cast, and I'll mention that there. So, Jake, how's your Adepticon going so far?
It's good. Things are good. Vibes are high. Throat's already sore. Back hurts a lot. But it's good. It's good.
What'd you play?
Let's see. Today was all team games. So I didn't have a partner because my dearest pretty was not available. So he was here in my heart, in my spirit. So I got partnered.
Yep. Love you, pretty.
Yeah, he's also Flat Pretty's up on the wall watching over us.
As he should be.
Yeah, overseeing the Heresy at large. So I partnered up with a guy named John, and he was playing Solar Ox as well. And he had like 100 Vanquisher tanks, and then we played against all infantry all day. So yeah, so that part kind of sucked. We really killed a whole lot of like individual models by shooting the piss out of them with Vanquishers.
Okay.
But that was, like it's kind of like overkill, right? Like the difference between killing a Marine and then exploding a Marine, it kind of equals the same. But we had a whole lot of fun, played a lot of fun guys. Nobody that I'd ever played before, so that was good. Yeah, it was a good time. It's been a good time.
Highlight of the event so far?
Just hanging out with my friends. Seeing Ned this morning really swelled my heart. Yeah.
Let the record show the room is sighing in heartfelt agreements.
Yeah.
Let the record show.
Yeah. So yeah, no, just seeing everybody. The Zomortalis was good yesterday.
Was that the after hours one?
No, I did the morning one. I watched the after hours. They looked like they had a lot of fun there doing that. We had 166 or 170 people today playing Heresy. between the team tournament or the team event and
the
then
team event had 100 people
Yeah.
different total. And then over on the other side, they had 160 something. So we had almost 260.
Oh
something.
shit! Yeah, I didn't realize. Okay, so we had 260 people playing. That's incredible.
That's more than we've ever had before.
I think that's a testament to the guys that are running the events. I mean, you got Lucas and his whole team over there, and you got Zach and his whole team running this side, and it don't matter which way you go. There's great heresy going on, and lots of cool people. Not one argument, not nobody getting fussy, not just dudes hanging out with dudes, just playing heresy, having a good time.
That's the most important thing in my opinion. George?
Yeah, so I'll just say Ox are pretty awesome, but also it's like playing Heresy on expert mode because you're giving yourself so many handicaps, especially at 1,500 points. Because if you got all infantry, your infantry just dies in droves, and tanks just die so easily. Because like the one game where my tanks survived the first turn was playing 2 fully infantry armies. So again, much like Jake said, I was just Vanquisher cannoning people in the face.
Okay.
And I mean, it did work, but not exactly the most. But what else are you gonna do? I mean, I had no other targets. It was still awesome as shit though. Can I swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, fuck yeah, I love that. That's the best way to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's like the one Heresy event I play in. Maybe the second one. I might do Horsey Heresy again. We'll see.
Yeah!
Assuming Ned invites me, and remembers that he actually invites me. Yeah.
I'm drunk, man. You might forget everything.
Yeah. I mean, emceeing Praetor Fight Club is always pretty awesome. That's always fun to do. It was a good time.
You look so classy.
It was a long day, yeah, with my tuxedo T-shirt. Hell yeah. That was thought out quite a bit in advance. But no, Solar Ox is awesome, though. It's just a lot of work to get an army painted, but totally worth it. It's awesome. So, yeah. Also, spent a lot of money, which is most of the reason I come here. I mean, that's what it is for me.
We all got army trays.
Yeah, we got some sweet Table War army trays. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm going to say this. The only reason I really come here, ignoring the games, ignoring buying anything, is to see everybody who's my friend.
Yeah, no, I just come here to buy stuff. I mean...
You don't care about any of us, right?
I'm not saying that, but... I'm not saying I don't care about you as human beings, but, I just want to buy shit. I want to spend my hard-earned money on stuff that I don't need that just makes me feel... Yeah, I just have to pay 11% sales tax to Cook County. But, hot take. No, it's always a good time hanging out with everybody.
Taxes are bad.
Yeah, tax bad. No taxation without representation. You got representation. Ned, don't. Not in Cook County. Yeah, not in Crook County, as they say. It's Adepticon. You can't go wrong. Yeah, well, no, it is the right podcast. Dun 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 dun. Because we got Jake Bussey right here, We can talk about taxes.
Yeah. Anytime we have Jake Bussey, we're allowed to talk about.
We're kind of derailing this, but whatever.
That's okay.
That's okay. Good. Yeah, taxes do suck, but.
He's going to edit everything he said.
No, I'm not. That's Jack's job.
That's okay.
All right.
I'm used to it.
And how is your Heresy Adepticon gone?
I have had a fantastic Heresy at Adepticon. I played the Fearix Frontline event on Thursday. Met some new and fun people. Had an amazing time. And then we did the Notorious BAG on Thursday night. I brought my word bearers and some demons. Dropped Kabanda with Erebus and Lorgar. The joy I get from letting people attempt to kill Erebus and denying that for as long as I can brings warmth to my heart. It took 47 macro Gatling blaster shots into Erebus's cover squad in order to bring him down. It was glorious.
By the way, the voice you are hearing, the dulcet tones of Dark Apostle Ben, sometime co-host of the Ineptus Astartes podcast. So,
hello, everyone.
For the record.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Today we did the tag team events. I've been rocking the Emperor's Children for the Fearix events and the tag team today, which has been tons of fun. I'll be doing Frontline again for Fearix tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. It's been an amazing Heresy Adepticon here 2024.
Thank you, sir. And Eric? Come on, brother.
What's happening? What are we doing here?
We are recording for the podcast. We are asking you how your Adepticon 2024 Heresy has gone to this point.
Amazing as always. Even to this day, this is now my third Adepticon as a local. I'm meeting awesome Heresy players every time I come here. I make 5 to 6 new friends from every game I play. I learn something new about the game. Just constant awesome times had at every game. I've not had a bad game once that I've been here. Made new friends, and good times had by all.
Joseph, the podcast intern, go ahead and tell us how your Adepticon Horus Heresy 2024 has been.
So today I didn't really do anything Horus Heresy related until the afternoon. I spent most of my Friday kind of wandering around the Merkin Hall and just enjoying the crowd, doing some demo games. And then I came in and did Praetor Fight Club. I got to kill a couple Praetors, and then I got my butt absolutely handed to me by the reigning champion. So, I didn't get to do a whole lot today, but I'm excited to play in the Ferrix event tomorrow and meet a whole bunch of more cool people. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank you, sir. This is Duncan, Heresy Accountabilibuddies, Friday Night Adepticon 2024, signing out. And this is Duncan yet again, everybody. And I'm here with Joe Kirkus, our friend from Tennessee. Joe, I love you, brother. How has your Adepticon experience been thus far here on Friday night?
I love you too, man. It's been great. This was the first year that I brought up my son. He had his third, fourth, and fifth Heresy games today. He loved it, and I was so excited to see him playing. I continued my streak of losing every game.
I'm proud of you. I did the exact same thing on my day today.
And the most painful imaginable way ever. Highlight, though, was my Iron Father killing Argel Tall with a Macandrite.
That's nice.
I also had a basic Immortal Sergeant murder a Iron Father at the Ferrix ZM battle last night. So a lot of good times. Got to see a lot of really good friends. It's like seeing family coming up here.
So would you recommend to anyone who has not come to Adepticon to play Heresy do so if they're in the hobby already?
Absolutely. If you are interested if you're interested in Heresy and you've heard about Adepticon, the stories are true. It's amazing. It's an experience. One I'd never knew I was missing before I came to my first one.
And you brought your family with you?
I did. I brought my family with me. Brought my wife and my kids.
And your son played his first Heresy game? Or how many? What was one of the games?
So he played 3 today, and that was his third, fourth, and fifth games. And he enjoyed it. He got to face the Gizmond, and he's already decided that he does not like the Imperial Fist.
That's, as a dedicated Traitor player myself, that makes me very proud.
I feel like today may have gotten him swayed more to the Traitor side after.
Is he ready to swear his allegiance to War Master Horus?
Yeah, he might be after having to deal with the Imperial Fist enough times.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Beth, I really am happy that I got to see you. I only see you like twice a year, if that. Yeah, for just a few minutes. So, how has your Adepticon experience been? As a family member who's not typically playing in games.
Just fabulous to see my family so passionate about what they're doing.
Do you have friends who attend Adepticon?
Maybe.
Well, good enough for me. Do you have anything you'd like our listeners at home to listen to or say?
It's a lot of fun. Bring Red Bull.
Caffeine, caffeine, caffeine. All right. Thank you all. And I'm back, everybody. Still here. Still Friday night at Adepticon. And I am here with Derek Wood, one of our friends who has been a staple at Adepticon Horus Heresy for at least the almost 8 years that I've known him. Has been running events at Adepticon Horus Heresy for the 8 years that I've known him.
Plus or minus the year.
Plus, yeah, minus the pandemic years, but those don't count. Yes. So we'll just call it 8 anyway.
Sure.
So, Derek, I've got to ask, how has your Horus Heresy Adepticon 2024 been going?
Honestly, to be fair, it should not matter how mine has been going. What I've heard from the players is they've had a blast. So therefore, I've had a blast. Because passing people in the hallway, I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, you had a hell of an event. I had tons of fun. I hope it's the same next year." And that makes it all worth it.
So what have you been running?
I did the attrition yesterday. I did the tag teams today, and
Tell us about those events. What was the event? How many players? What'd you do?
so the attrition yesterday, we had 50 people. We had the 25. We started at 2,500. We worked down 500 from each event after that, so then 2,000, 1,500. I made some rules for the attrition table, and I think people played with it. I hope they had tons of fun with it. And then today we had the tag teams, which you played in.
I did.
And we had 100 people show up and 1,500 points, and added a couple special rules, added some partner swapping or wife swapping, people called it. And
Yep, that was definitely interesting.
everyone had a great time. I'm just super happy people had fun.
Cool. So I've got to ask, because this is important, and it's
Sure.
the most important part, of Heresy 2024 Adepticon, what has been your favorite part?
Just people having fun.
Anything stand out as above all the rest to you?
I mean, I do. It's been such a blur. It's hard to nail down any one specific event. I was walking around. I was doing the rounds.
It can be seen a specific person, a group.
To be fair, if you talk about meeting people, it's meeting people and people coming up and saying, "Hey, we had fun." I'm seeing people who I haven't seen since last year or since before the pandemic. That's been the part for me that I've loved, is meeting back with people, because I saw you last year.
Yep.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, sir.
You're always just you're a gentleman, a scholar, and a sharer of whiskey.
I am. I
Yeah.
do try.
And just talking with people and having people share with me their heresy experiences. I love it.
I am overjoyed to hear that. Is there anything that you were looking forward to Heresy related the rest of the year?
The rest of this year, more models, more releases, more support from GW. It feels like a tall order sometimes, but I hope GW seeing events like these and seeing the turnout we get, that they sort of see the community as it is and how popular it is and how big it's gotten, and support it more. That's my hope.
That's really all that I need to know at this point. So
Yeah.
All I can say is thank you, my brother.
You're welcome, dude. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. This is Duncan again. I'm here with Ken at Adepticon 2024. Ken, it's Friday night. How has your Adepticon gone? What have you played? What have you enjoyed? And have you been here before?
Thanks for having me on, Duncan. First-time listener, long-time lover of your podcast.
Thanks.
Not my first Adepticon. We were here in 2019 before the pandemic. Can I swear on your podcast?
You absolutely can. Go right ahead.
Royally fucked everything up. And so it was a hard time getting back here just with, pandemic and life and all that stuff. But so we're back now. Played in attrition, played in the tag team today. I'm a Blood Angel player, have been since I started, so I brought the Blood Angels out again. And been really loving 2.0, getting hardcore into it. And the events here today and yesterday have been fantastic. Overall, overall good experience with all my opponents. So, that's what I'm.
So what have you played in?
So yesterday was the attrition. So I played my Blood Angels. That was my first attrition event I've ever done. So it was fun, kind of stepping down from 25 to 2 to 15.
As opposed to a standard escalation kind of build up.
Yeah, I like that event a lot. I thought they came out with some pretty cool rules, to give it some flair. Overall, just playing with. So the standard in our group, right? We're from Toronto, or in the GTA as we call it. The standard was always 3K in 1.0, but in 2.0 we instantly found a lot of love for 2.5K games and 2K games, So much so that it's pretty much all we play now.
Okay.
And so coming to an attrition event where you're starting at 2.5K and coming down to 1,500 points, that was right in our wheelhouse. So we had a lot of fun doing that.
So one thing that a lot of people that I know I've talked to for a while have been talking about is not scaling down for average games, but actually scaling up to from 3K that they consider average to 3,500 and the outlier of 4K. Just because it lets them bring more stuff that people can sit there and see the cool, fun toys and play with their fun toys. Have you all been playing any 4K or 3,500s at all?
So we have been talking about, and we've been doing some concepts for some bigger narrative stuff where you'll see larger point values come in. But I think that the Heresy, we have to contrast the Heresy, in my opinion, to 40K. And when you have all the nuances written into the rules of the Heresy, I think I can speak for my whole group when I say we really see that shine at the smaller point values. I think that there's definitely a place and a lot of fun to be had in the bigger point games. It's nothing like putting on a whole 3,000 to 4,000 points of painted models. Your Primarchs there, you got super heavies fucking shit up. It's a great time, but I think that you can kind of lose some of the value of this game and the nuance and the strategic values by getting out of that smaller point values where I feel decisions get tough. When you know that you got 4,000 points to spend, you can pretty well bring whatever the hell you want.
And you can waste it.
But when you're like, no, I got 2,500 points to spend. I gotta be efficient here. I'm not bringing 10 men. I'm like, no, this is going to be a 7-man last man in squad, and then I'm going to throw in 8 Dawn Breakers and et cetera, because you got to really fine tune that stuff.
Okay. One thing I'm kind of sort of trying to ask people. Would you personally be interested in something akin to a cross-area campaign that was run purely via internet?
It's like a satellite campaign.
It's kind of like a satellite campaign where there's a weekly or bi-weekly updated map with things that have occurred in an area you played at, where your games track and contribute to the overall arching narrative that may end after, say, a summer length with possible prizes for people who played.
I can say
zero buy-in.
Yeah, I can say for Kenny, that's me. I can say yeah. I mean, Steph, Matt, what do you guys say about something like that?
I think that'd be incredible. I think it's a phenomenal idea. I always love anything narrative.
Yeah, that it's funny. We've talked so many times as a group about how to efficiently do these narrative style map sort of escalating events, right? And it's not always so easy, but I think if you kind of hit on some of the major points that are hurdles is the time frame. You have to have a generous time frame because people have life and all that other shit.
Absolutely, especially since Heresy is a game that's primarily played mostly by people our age or older.
That's right. You don't see too many young kids here, which is not a problem. We get them eventually, but it's primarily old. It's primarily older men. Like we got disposable income and whatnot, but. So yeah, I think that there's absolutely, for my group, I could say we would be interested in something like that. And I know, so we're part of a larger community in the GTA that play 30K. There's people to the west of us that we're friends with, that they have another group, like a satellite group, so to speak, that we connect with and we would have narrative events with. And then we know there's a group to the east. We don't really connect to them, but I mean, about like the Age of Darkness podcast.
I do.
I listened to JP and those guys. And
I consider JP a friend.
There you go. So, I mean, I've never really connected with those guys, but I know they're there. They're east of us. So basically, but everyone's central and west of us, we connect with. So there's absolutely people who'd be interested in something like that.
Cool. Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Adepticon.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, sir. Stefano, take it away, man.
Okay, well, I came down from the same group that Ken came from, so I played in a lot of the similar events. Played Attrition yesterday. Played the doubles today. Ken was my partner for it. Like Ken, we've been playing basically since Horus Heresy's inception, 40K since, or prior to. Play a couple of different armies. We're fielding the Sons of Horus this time around in 2.0. I'm having a lot of fun with their shall we say, updates and changes since 1.0.
Speaking of someone who plays Horus Heresy with primarily Sons of Horus, other than my World Eaters, yeah, I'm really liking the changes to the Sons of Horus this edition.
I think they did quite well with them. I think they really played the bully advocate very well. Like, they get to play the sort of brutal, upfront, Chthonian barbarian sentimentality kind of quite well.
Are you playing like a spear point kind of list?
My list is, I've always been toys over boys. I like more expensive things and things. So the Reavers in Land Raiders, sort of that sort of excessive there. So the general spear tip thrust is there. Actually, it's kind of interesting. I said today's events, playing a bit of a loyalist force today with Ken's Blood Angels in support Day of Revelation, sort of seeing the value of jump packs. My guys getting stranded when their Land Raiders inevitably get immobilized or killed. It's been an interesting sort of learning curve in a lot of ways that at 1,500 especially, it's very difficult to sort of manage the pieces, which I think is kind of one of the wonderful parts about those list building experiences, and how you really can't take everything, and the choices you make can drastically appear it, because a Land Raider can be a steel behemoth. It also might just be a liability when it just doesn't do what it needs to do, which is get the guys where they need to go. When the spear tip doesn't thrust, it doesn't necessarily do the job. But yeah, I've been adoring 2.0 thus far. I haven't played enough of it as much as I wanted to. Life's been a bit of a hectic that way, but I played a lot of 1.0. I'm looking to keep playing at this point here. Adepticon's really much reinvigorated that for me. We got a couple more days of casual gaming in at this point. Dying to see how everyone sort of takes the rest of the narrative events and the events still to come. But Heresy 2.0 has been given her shot in the arm for me personally because of Adepticon.
So what events did you actually play in?
I played in Attrition yesterday and the doubles event today.
Okay. How did your doubles event go today?
Doubles went pretty well, actually. We had a couple of very even games. All three games were very close down the line. The first two games went very well. The third game was a loss that was one of the most entertaining losses I've ever suffered. Two very well-mannered gentlemen from Chicago, the Chicago area, local boys, I think, that were fantastic opponents, Jason and Tom, if they're listening. And they were fantastic opponents, world leaders in Mechanicum. I haven't had so much fun losing in a long time. So. But yeah, the Adepticon's been quite the experience for us. Even Attrition yesterday was quite fun. With the declining list, it was interesting to sort of peel away pieces and see what was still there. I've recently fallen in love with the obligatory Master of Signals that the Black Reaving requires. The Nemesis bolt rifle on it is a sort of a nice new addition. He just gets to stand in the back and shoot things at a distance, and no one really wants to waste ammo on a single Master of Signals. So it does it does a lot of work. To be fair, considering
it's a motherfucker.
it's 10 points goes a long way when it's a sniper rifle, I suppose.
I will agree there.
It's given the idea of any of these obligatory Centurions just to take a Nemesis bolt rifle, and I'm not burning it.
It's just oddly useful on a Master of Signals because he's already got a tech to make him a better shot. So, having the augury scanner, having everything else ready to go. So he's just weirdly efficient thing. Actually, Jordan and I played a test game because my Adepticon army didn't exist the last Tuesday, essentially. I had to rush paint everything from, basically personal things, kick the can down the road until the week before. So the army basically had to be scratch built and painted from then.
Standard.
The war game was practiced.
Standard wargaming procrastination.
Absolutely, 100%. And Jordan and I, at least, we got the first model syndrome out of the night today. So a friend of mine managed to play a game with his new White Scars, which is my new Sons of Horus. And Interceptor was an interesting one there. We both learned a lot there. I'm like, wow, you know what? I was so down on assault cannons on dreadnoughts in 2.0. I'm like, man, they just don't have the punch. They don't kill two Terminators. They're not quite as exciting anymore. But exploding 800 points of bikes on their turn feels really good.
It does. It really does. One thing I've been doing with my Master of Signals, I have not been using him in any way that is positive. I've been equipping him with the Tabar axe,
one of my favorites.
Tabar, and I've been attaching him to a squad of Reavers in a Land Raider, and then getting him out of the Land Raider, detaching him, and then having him eat the Overwatch.
Yep. And trigger the multi-assault.
And trigger the multi-assault so that he goes in first, and then the Reavers don't get butchered since they do the work that he does not.
Absolutely. He's been he can do a lot of things there. In my 1,500 points, unfortunately lost ammo for the sniper rifle, so in the attrition he had to go down into the ditch with nothing, I suppose. He finally dropped it. But that being said, he's such a fantastic all generalist unit. It just feels a little weird because I prefer melee over shooting if I can avoid it.
I agree.
And he's a interesting fit in what I would prefer to be a principally melee Reaver centric
So
army.
you play a Black Reaving primarily, not a Long March.
I used to play Long March in the first edition. I'm not quite fond of the way they sort of changed in a lot of ways. I know it's still a very good right. It just the way I played it was very different. So a lot of my units don't jive with it quite as much anymore. And I also haven't given enough try, in all honesty. So I got to try a little more too. But it's still a fantastic Rite of War. It just changed enough that I haven't got my head around it in a lot of ways. But the Black Reaving kind of hit all the nails that I love. I love deep striking just staring. Multi-meltas are especially efficient this edition. But between Reavers getting rage, or everything getting rage on the multi-charges, but Reavers in particular with the just, shall we say, cacophony of weapons that they're able to take with them.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a very fun one. Actually had a lot of mileage today out of the Loyalist version, which I normally don't play. I normally prefer to keep them on the red side, I suppose. But combining with Wolf of Luna, getting that extra attack in there, even with counterattacking and with rage, can really get out of hand. I think in a strange way. Because, +3, having more attacks gained than the model has base is a kind of interesting experience. And especially when you can take power fists and the like, it's a very brutal, I suppose.
It can be.
Method. So, but in all honesty, it's 2.0 and Adepticon have been a fantastic experience, learning and otherwise.
Wonderful. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked your friend a moment ago. Would you possibly be interested in the campaigns that ran via internet and ran across a map-based thing where you played at your own pace, you wrote up battle reports, you contributed to a global narrative campaign that maybe had an eventual blow-off at, say, another event or something like that?
Honestly, it sounds like an incredible experience. I mean, we wrote linked events and all those sort of things, kind of give the meaning beyond the pickup games that a lot of us kind of descend into. Like, I'll just play Heresy this weekend and just sort of randomly descend into red versus blue, or whatever version of it you want to play. Something like that to add greater context and a sense of community across, a good sense of space and across all the different little satellite communities and different brotherhoods.
And the one most important thing in my mind for Adepticon and the Horus Heresy community in general, the sense of community that we all share.
Absolutely. I think it would be a fantastic experience.
Like, you come here, you play all these games with all these guys. It would be like, and you dream about this all year. So I think it'd be great to kind of keep it going virtual, because we all can't just be together. We live across the biggest continent in the world. So to be able to play together virtually, and then maybe come back to Adepticon and culminate that every year, that'd be pretty cool.
Cool. I appreciate that. So I will then say thank you, Stefano. I really appreciate that. Anything else you want to say at this point?
Other than everyone enjoy the Heresy, whatever it means to play more Heresy, and enjoy it however that makes sense to you. So.
Thank you, sir.
And here you go, brother. Say your name. Tell us all about you.
I'm Matt. I'm with the same group as Ken and Stefano here. It's my second Adepticon. We came in 2019, as Ken mentioned. Kind of the pandemic kind of screwed that up for us for the next couple years, but we're glad to be back, and it's been fantastic. And I think one of the best things is seeing how much love and passion there is amongst the Heresy fans. I think that's one of the biggest things you kind of see different amongst some of the communities that you see here. Is just the love, the passion, and the community has just been fantastic. It's really exciting. Myself too, I'm primarily a Imperial Fist and Thousand Sun player, but I brought Death Guard for this. Had a lot of fun. I only played in the doubles event, didn't play in the attrition. I just spectated the attrition. A lot of fun games, a lot of exciting stuff, a lot of, as I said, passion and excitement amongst the community. The Death Guard was super fun. My teammate in the event might not agree. We were team named Creepy Reapy because I ran the Creeping Death and my teammate ran the Reaping. We realized at the start of the event that he is not immune to my dangerous terrain in our deployment zone. So throughout the games, I think I killed him more than our opponents did for the most part. I killed equally my opponents with the dangerous terrain and toxin bombs, I think. But, all in all, everyone good sports. My teammate, very good sport with me murdering him repeatedly. Ultimately, I think the biggest thing for me, the biggest draw is the community, is the people, and the social aspect of the game is alive and kicking, especially within the Heresy, and it's just a wonderful thing to see. And I've been in the hobby for an incredibly long time. Started in 93, second edition.
So you got the old school box set with the Blood Angel Sergeant
and the good old orcs, the monopose, the Gretchens, and the cardboard dreadnought. Yeah, I actually still in my storage unit at home. I have some of the Gretchen and stuff. I'm a massive orc fanboy. I bleed green.
When we're done, I'll show you a picture I have on my phone because I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure I will. If it's green in any way.
It's not. It's actually one of the old plastic sergeants. With the original decal, and it's painted up because it's one of the first miniatures I ever painted, and it's literally just an old Blood Angel Sergeant, and it looks atrocious. And I look back at it, and I keep that model on my shelf so I can look at it and go, God, that was horrible.
How far I've come.
I wish I still had actually some of the old models. I wish I had my old Lizardmen from back in the day when I started in, what would have been 5th edition fantasy at that time. That was the first box set I bought at 13, But I think the biggest thing in the way it's come along is just seeing the growth, seeing the excitement, but also seeing how many, I think we talked about it here at Adepticon, how many families and how many young kids we saw coming into the second generation gamers, and really getting to kind of see the growth of the community, and great talks with some of the organizers and stuff. This being GW's 3rd biggest event here at Adepticon, seeing how big it's grown over the last few years has been fantastic. But definitely what I love to see.
So, gotta ask, same thing I'm asking everybody. Favorite experience of Adepticon so far this year, 2024?
Oh, well...
he gets to cuddle with me at night.
That always a bonus. But I think, again, just going back to the community, meeting some great people like yourselves and some of the other people I played with, it's always going to be the highlight for me.
Okay. And again, same question about your friends. Would you be interested in the global campaign idea?
I think
if you do feel this is a positive thing, what would you want to see come out of it?
Again, I really got to say, building the community, building the friendships, but I would definitely be interested. I think the idea of it continually growing and staying on top of it, and anything narrative driven, I love. I build my list as much as I can to be themey and build around an idea and a theme and a story. So anything narrative driven is fantastic. And what Ken had mentioned, the idea of building a story and a narrative to culminate as a group here at Adepticon, or an escalation game, or even the attrition idea, again, would be fantastic. I think that's a great way to build it.
Wonderful. Yeah. Sir, I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much, Ken.
Jordan, you're up, my friend. Tell us about your Adepticon.
So, if I remember correctly, I think I met you in 2019 when you were playing on the table next to me, and you happened to just ever so slightly bump my chair and apologize profusely and then offer me a glass of bourbon.
As I do.
Because that is the kind of, when everyone's getting around and sitting around to play games, 100%, you're either going to bump into each other and feel... you can't see the expression, but it's like all tight and squeezed in and, cramped. Or you're going to feel like, I'm amongst all my people, every excuse to say, hi, hey, how's it going? Would you like one of this? Or can I interest you in that? Or, we had a guy in 2019 running around handing out, like homemade, I forget what it was. It was like a meat or something like that. just because he was excited
that
about
was
it.
Nate hanging out or running events and actually passing out. He worked at a brewery at the time, I believe it was, and he was hanging out various stouts that were Heresy themed.
And like that's the kind of thing that you don't see with very many other groups. You hear about oh yeah, we played this game and I won this, and I did this and I did that. But like I didn't even realize that you were the guy who offered me the bourbon. It was Matt who brought it up when you sat down next to us right now. And you came to sit down next to us because we had a great game in our second game where everyone had a blast, and you just kind of leaned in to say hi. And it's, you know what, we're all sitting around, let's sit around and have fun.
Exactly.
Everyone always harps on and on and on, like, community, and it can become a very...
It can become something that you actually preach, but do not actually practice. But we, from my experience in the Adepticon Heresy and the Heresy community nationwide, worldwide, globally as a whole, seems to be more community positive, hobby positive, and embracing strangers who you've never met or don't remember and become new friends with.
Yeah.
And they consider them family, and you look forward to seeing them again year after year after year.
100%. Like all the models, we play our games like our models are playing to win. They're going to move their maximum, they're going to roll all their dice, take all their re-rolls, and they're, when you're playing the game, the most fun I think that I have is against our buddy Mike. And he makes very, very hard lists.
Okay.
They're not dick-kicking lists, and they're not min-maxed to be min-maxed. They're
But
just...
they play to the strengths.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
And everything is point efficient, and sometimes the dice will... So I kind of mucked around with my basement to make a place for people to play. And so a lot of times we're just popping in, playing games. And even when it seems like the game is lost, on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, dice are dice. I don't know if you're a gambling guy. I love craps. I love anything to do with dice.
I don't really gamble very much. I spend my time dealing with people on the opposite side of the law, if that makes any sense. Which is kind of gambling. And I try to avoid doing that in my personal life.
Fair play. But you're around dice all the time.
Yes.
And if you understand how dice work, it's that you see when you roll ones, when you roll twos, as opposed to, everything evens out in the end. So if you decided to sit down and have fun with someone for 2.5 hours, it doesn't matter what goes on. If you stick around and you spend those 2.5 hours, by the end of the day, you're going to have a blast. So Matt, in our attrition event, I was playing his teammate in what was the doubles. I ended up playing his teammate in the third attrition event. And he happened to be standing around next to the table. And we were all having so much fun just standing around yakking while the game was going on, through the ups and the downs, and the game ended in a literal 0-0 tie. We had the same number of models on the table. No one could kill each other's warlords, no matter what happened. And it was so much fun that the two of them decided to team up in the next day's event because Buddy's partner had to drop out.
That's fair.
And that's an instant friendship with just bonding, as opposed to sitting around and going,
Until I killed all those guys.
Yeah, but that's, But as opposed to getting sour that things didn't work out, it turned into an opportunity to have fun with someone.
And make a friend.
100%. And that's what you want to do, right? You want to approach everything like you're having a blast, and it's just enjoyable.
I think that's one of the biggest positives for the Heresy community as a whole, is that we come here, we put more time into our hobby than the games. You spend time painting, you spend time talking with your friends before the game, the friends you make during the games, the friends you make at events. You spend time socially networking with those people, talking with them, hanging out, doing stuff that's not just gaming, but game-centric. I mean, just talking about the fluff, sharing a love of the novels or the audio dramas or just the background of Heresy. And sharing that with people is a passion that I personally feel very deeply about. I can tell from the way that you approach it, you feel the same. So doing, I think, all of that makes the games kind of ancillary. Yes, it is all based on the games. It is all based on the models. But the game at the end of it is just one very, very small aspect of the community that I feel that the Heresy group fosters so very well.
100%. Like I love this game because it's almost an intellectual exercise of how am I going to now, especially now that you have all those interactions with reactions. Yeah, I 100%. This is like version 1 of what the game will be in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, but you're playing the game because it's a fun thing to do. It's an intellectually stimulating, but to get to that point, you come up with an army. Like, I'm a World Aegis player. I have 12, 14, 15,000 points. I want to do something different. So, and Stefano has me beat. I said, once again, work and everything like that, I only ended up with 10 days to build and paint 2,500 points of bikes for White Scars. Stefano had me beat.
Which look amazing, by the way.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Kenny's going to be showing me how to do gloss coats so I can use, the ink washes, because I want to step on my painting, because personally, I think my World Eaters look gorgeous. They're not beautifully painted, but they're coherent, and every model I've painted to the same standard, and it looks great as a thing on the table, as a unit. And personally, it's a fun exercise to say, okay, I've done this. Now, as a hobby, what am I going to do to kind of step out of my comfort zone?
To bring it to another level.
Yeah, so
more white, apparently.
You have no idea. So he's been trying to get me to do an airbrush. So I use the Elfwin Gray for World Eaters, 2 thin coats, all hail Duncan. I started using Vallejo Airs, and I've been brushing Vallejo Airs. And my white is nice and smooth, 6 coats. Never again. It's going to be airbrush from now on. But at the same time, that's only because I want to do another army. And I'm going to okay, so here I've done this, and I'm going to learn washes. Now I want to try maybe a little bit of shading, a little bit of wet blend, like little things to kind of make the hobby interesting.
Okay, so you're looking at expanding not the game part, but everything that builds to an eventual game with
Yes.
an army. So what army are you looking at starting?
So I've always wanted to do Alpha Legion, because the plan was always you take 20 models and 1 tank of each kind, you paint your Alpha Legion, and then you gloss coat it, paint it your normal Legion colors, do a little bit of chipping, and now all of a sudden you have Alpha Legion, 20,000 points, whatever you have, 1 guy in each thing, and you can see. But that to me is kind of boring, because I've done that before. Okay. Custodes are going to be just a gorgeous...
17 different shades of gold.
Yeah, actually, the ones that I want to do are, I think it's the... I forget which one. It's they have like a brown base on it. It's in book 7. But for a Legion, so I started in 2nd edition with Eldar, and the first codex that I bought was Eldar and then Angels of Death. So it has to be Blood Angels and Dark Angels. I don't know which one, but it has to be one of those. And in order to do that and just not have it be just one other toy that sits in, your shelf, as you get older, you have to appreciate more about the hobby, like sitting down. So, yeah, Stefano took 7 days to get his stuff. I took 10 days. The thing that got it there was we were on Discord with, like, hobby chats until 3 in the morning. Just like, how much longer you got? You think you got an hour left in you? Yeah, okay. So just, like, powering through. So when the next one comes along, now it's, like, the group aspect is not going to be stay up all night with me. It's going to be show me how to do this with the airbrush.
So kind of like community lessons.
Yeah, 100%.
We bounce ideas
Yeah,
too.
and when you're sharing amongst yourselves, like the little skills, trying this, trying that, then even someone who has better painting skills will still learn more. Will still be able to improve themselves by helping you out, because maybe there's this little technique that you've figured out
that you haven't heard of.
100%. And so even sharing with somebody else will be rewarding for you. I mean, it really does sound like everyone's always talking, like, it's almost like cult-like, oh, it's a great community and come on in. But it really is because we want to all have fun, and
you can't just have fun only in the games. You have to find a way to make every other aspect fun. The painting, the converting, the building, the modeling, the theory craft behind a list.
Yeah.
The narrative behind why you want the list to be this way.
The hours of listening to our buddy Jeff, who his models are here, but he's not here with us, chatting with Stefano, sending messages back and forth in I found this great list, or we're going to go out and play, and we've played at, the local gaming store, and so we spend, 5-6 hours playing games, and then 3 or 4 hours at the Wild Wing, or whatever other, restaurant around, just shooting the shit afterwards, because that's what, it's an excuse to get together and have fun with your friends, and especially as you get older. Like, I got a 14-year-old, and one of the things that I'm really noticing about what he's doing that you take for granted when you were a kid is everything is about your friends. He has his friends come over, and they literally play in the basement with, miniature hockey sticks, bouncing around, pretending to be this, pretending to do that. That's what I do with my friends, and I'm in my, 40s.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. And that's the thing. The older you get, you shouldn't give up your fun, you shouldn't give up your friends, you shouldn't give up your hobbies. You're going to have more responsibilities. But that's the beautiful thing about stuff like this is you can be sharing pictures. You can be sending messages. Hey, I'm going to be working on this, or this is I'm really excited about these transfers, or I bought new paints. I've met so many interesting. So you with the whole bourbon story. There was a guy, Gabriel. I can't remember, anything other than his name is Gabriel. He's from Texas. I was talking with him about his Titans in the big ass game. He's like, oh, let me show you some Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
And he just pulls me off to the side and hands me a thing of paints because he bought the wrong ones, or he has an extra. He's like, these are going to change your life. Where else do you see that, where you're so excited about
someone else's enjoyment?
Yes. That you're like, oh, I'm not going to give this back. I'm not going to let it sit on the shelf. You take it, Mr. Stranger, who I've
never
interacted.
Met before in my life.
Yeah, 5 minutes conversation. Here, have some stuff, and I hope I see you next year, and you can tell me, what did you do with it? Was it interesting? Do you like it? We have there's a place north of where we live that it was some guy who used to be a manager at Games Workshop stuff. He's got a place, Lords of War Games and Hobbies, I think it is, and he runs a small game store, and we're trying to bring people in there to participate in tournaments and things like that, because his main focus is come in and work on painting. Every time I go in, he's we don't go in very often because we're in Toronto. It's an hour. When are you going to have the time? But anytime you pop in, it's like, what are you working on today? What part of the hobby are you going to get more enjoyment out of if I give you a little bit of help with? And that's the thing that if you nurture that, you're set for life.
Yeah. Building friendships that last for a long time seems to develop more out of the gaming aspect and the people who we come to know who have mutual interests. So you're going to develop friendships for life based on shared interest. So, for example, my friend Jack, or my friend Zach, who's right here with us. Zach, who's running half the Heresy Hall. He and I have been associating for 6, 7, 8 years, something like that.
Something like that. Probably closer to 8, if not longer.
Yeah, we literally met because of Heresy, because of Adepticon. My friend Jack and I met because of 40K back at a game store in Lexington, Kentucky. Our friend Joseph, who's here with us, we met literally because he listened to the podcast and he's a Heresy gamer. He's come up here, he's been hanging out with us, and we've all had the time of our lives.
Remember, kids, being a fanboy works out sometimes.
So literally just, I think the biggest thing about Heresy in some ways isn't just the game, isn't just the hobby, isn't just the making and painting and modeling and converting, isn't even just the playing the game, isn't even just your own love of the lore. It's the community you build around yourself who share the same values and the same interests and the same love for the game.
Amen.
Yeah, it's like that's. I don't. I'm here in another country with 4 people or 5 people. Our buddy is asleep now because
Good for him.
sissy baby and everything like that. 100%. We call him a sissy baby because he's
the smart one.
He's the smart one.
He's the one who's getting a regular amount of sleep.
100%.
Yeah. We're old and don't do that.
And teach cobbler.
Yeah. That's a little bit of an inside joke, but that's okay. But I met these guys because, I didn't know any of them went into a game store and everyone was having fun. Now I have more friends who, this is what, 5, 6, 7, how long have we known each other?
2016?
So going on
16
10.
for me.
So you're looking at 8 to 10 years.
100%. And this is from people that I think, a couple of them worked at the store as either part-timers or when I went there, and then they no longer work there and they just keep going. And now we don't go to, the store has changed and we're going to different places. We're meeting people's houses, and just over time, you make friends, and they're lifelong friends because you share interests, and then you just grow as friends.
Created bonds. That's.
So you would say that your involvement with Games Workshop games, Warhammer, 40K, Fantasy, Heresy, etc., has led to some of your best lifelong friends.
Absolutely, 100%. And
I was in a wedding party for one of my friends that I met through this game. So,
And we'll probably be in the next one.
There you go.
There you go. That's wonderfully important, and I am absolutely glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, well, that's you take for granted the friends that you have, and you think they're always going to be there, and occasionally they move out and go somewhere else, or your interests change, or you guys just you no longer play the same sports, so you don't see them every day. Going out and just trying new things and picking up a new game, you never know who's going to like this. You never know who you're going to bump into and just, hit it off with, and who they're going to know. And it's just, you're going to set yourself up to have a happier, healthier life with a larger community. And that's what it all comes down to. The more people you can interact with and have a good experience with, the more opportunities you're going to have to just make those memories of, I don't remember a lot of things from the last number of years because life goes by very quickly.
It does.
But I remember 5 or 6 just special moments that, we had at Adepticon and on a couple of other trips, and different things that have happened in my basement or in our friend's basement. And it's just, those are the things that shape your life. And it's just looking back, in my looking back from 42 back, you just enjoy having fun. Take the time, make some friends, and just play games. Life is not only about just, doing things.
I think in some ways that is kind of the secret to life. It's not just doing only what you enjoy, but finding a way to enjoy everything that you do and build positive memories for yourself and others.
I hate painting,
Same,
but I
brother.
enjoyed the last like week.
Mutual suffering.
Yeah. Misery loves company. And when you can be miserable with your friends doing something that you need to do to enjoy an event that you're planning on going to, I will not forget spending an entire week up at, until 3 a.m, just like, come on, you got this, right? 5 more models.
Push up.
5 more models. Just,
Push through.
Exactly.
The encouragement, too.
It could be for anything. But the interesting thing about this hobby is that in our friend group, it spans 10, 15 years, right? That's the really interesting thing about tabletop war games, is that whenever you get into it, you're into it for the next, 10, 20, 30 years, and you'll meet people younger and older, and so you get to have those fun little experiences where everybody's a little bit different.
But you share the same interest.
We have some people in our group that go down to like 20. How old's Aaron? Like 23 or something? 22? Right? Like we've got a few.
We've known him for 10 years, though.
Yeah. We've known him.
Since he
We
was
knew
a
his
kid.
dad.
This is something that actually really touches on me, because I'm here. I've been playing Warhammer-related games since 1990. I started in first edition Warhammer 40K. Then I got into fantasy. Then I got into 40K second edition. Then I got into third edition. I dropped out between 3.5 and 4. I came back at the tail end of 4 into 5. Stuck around until 7th edition. Converted fully over to Heresy because I was no longer having fun in the organized 40K events that I was attending. Stuff like, I love Adepticon. I've been coming here since 2010. But down in the 40K hall, I was playing games. I was building armies just for 40K, but I wasn't having the fun that I wanted. It felt more like stress and work than it did like having fun. I met friends, I made friends, but then there was a Heresy event, and I'd already had a converted army of Iron Warriors that were designed to be pre-Heresy in design and look before they even dropped Book 1. And then they dropped Book 1. And then there's Betrayal at Calth. Then there's Burning Your Crossbow. And I buy these boxes and I build stuff. And then Heresy, the Adepticon, has their first event. And I don't get into that one. But the second event I showed up for, and I was like, these guys aren't just having fun. These guys aren't just playing games. They are enjoying themselves on their vacation. And that just appealed to me more than attending a convention and just playing games where I felt like I was working.
Well, are you at a tournament or are you at an event?
Exactly. Before I was at a tournament. Now I'm at events. And now I'm having fun. I'm making friends. And I'm doing my best to be hobby and community positive.
Absolutely. So brought us all together. It's going to keep us all together forever.
And I think that's the biggest point of this, and the biggest takeaway for Adepticon is like where I talked about community, but is exactly what you said. It's about lasting friendships and building these lasting bonds, and that's really what it comes down to for me.
Gentlemen, I cannot thank you all enough for coming on here and being with us for this. I will happily invite you all to come and join the Discord and listen to the podcast and join the Facebook group. We do regular, weekly, if not almost daily sometimes, hobby hangouts where we sit and paint together and just chat and shoot the shit on our Discord.
Please give Duncan another excuse to make fun of Canadians. He loves it. It's his favorite time.
We do ourselves too. So
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? We just like it when people talk about us.
I already threw a follow, and I threw it into our Discord group ourselves too.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Get more people listening for sure.
I don't even care if more people listen. I would love that if that happens. I just want to see more people involved and actually supported in their hobby.
That's what matters.
You said you don't like painting. We have multiple people who can paint stuff commission level. The Word Bearers Army that we have out there for supporting John Christensen, that's being done as the raffle for Saturday, that was painted live on our Discord every single day by Brian, who's one of our listeners and one of our friends. So if you see any ideas there, that things like techniques you would want to take away, I'm 100% certain he would be happy to teach you that. Gabe, who you mentioned earlier, he's another one of the listeners who comes on and just hangs out in the chat and paints with us. John himself, the one who's unfortunately lost his wife Christina, will sit there and paint with us and hang out with us. And he's actually one of the podcast hosts. So I would encourage anyone who wants to come by. At Post Adepticon, we will be having every single Wednesday from approximately 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight Eastern. We will have regular hobby hangouts, painting, modeling, converting, and just shooting the general shit with friends. I would encourage all of you to come on. I would encourage listeners to come on and do the same thing as well.
Well, you can see us there for sure. I mean, I got some major lofty hobby goals out of it, so.
I will happily sit there while you are working your hobby goals, and I will work on mine as well, because my pile of shame is unfortunately epic. And some of it stretches back to second edition.
The mountain of shame.
Yeah.
I think it's more like a room of shame, the basement,
the bunker, the hole.
Yeah, my wife would call it the pit.
Yeah.
Pensive Tartarus.
Hermione's handbasket.
Yeah, there we go. Guys, y'all have anything else you want to say at the end?
Thank you very much for supporting this and keeping us all entertained.
And I mean, thank you to Zach as a big part of the running the events for sure. Like, you know. Yeah. You know.
Zach, close us out.
Thanks for coming. I don't know what you want me to say. Wasn't prepared.
Yeah. Sorry, I threw that to you.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I got it. Hold on. Remember, listeners, stay accountable to your friends, your hobby, and your buddy. This has been the Accountability Buddies Podcast, signing out.
Welcome to a very special episode of Accountability Buddies, where I don't know anybody's name. I'm with Duncan, and we have Ned and Bob.
Still Ben.
Still Ben. See, at this point, it's on purpose. Stop. No, this is still fine.
It's good. I like it.
We're here live at Adepticon 2024. It's not really going to be live when you listen to this. It'll, in fact, be in the past. But for us right now, it's live. So
Isn't everything live when we're doing it?
I don't know. Just a second ago, it was live then, but now it's not live. So
when will then be now?
Never.
So Adepticon 2024. It's Saturday night. Almost all of Heresy is shut down at this point.
Yep. We got jumped.
We did. We lost our room to other stuff going on, but that's okay because life happens. Mm-hmm. So, Ned, how has your Adepticon 2024 experience been going?
It was great. I played Fearix on Friday, and today I did nothing. I went and hung out, and I met up with some old friends, and I did the demo of BattleTech Alpha Strike. And actually, that's what Ben and I were doing just a minute ago, is just muddling our way through that.
Okay.
And having a great time with that as well.
Absolutely.
So what did you play? You said you played in Fearix?
Yes. I played the Malortians. Played my Solar Ox. And if you want to find out about that debacle, you can go to the Ineptus Astartes podcast and read about that. Two of the people
Read
who
about it?
Read about it?
Hear about it? Well, God, it's so late.
Here with your earballs.
Here with your earballs. Two of the people who are responsible for that force sitting in this room across from me, that would be Jonas and Dale, the other guys who are here with me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Where'd your HQ come from, dipshit?
Oh, yeah, and Ben and Barbara, who's over here on the side.
So what you're telling me is that a number of your friends all banded together to ambush you with
free models. Yes.
And a lot of painting.
And a lot of painting to do. It was fun though. I mean, those resin Solar Ox kits are really, really special. And they were a lot of fun to paint, even if it did take me basically 2.5 months to paint the 100 infantry that I ended up showing up with today. So for this weekend.
And how many tanks did you show up with?
I had eight tanks and eight tanks, and I ended up bringing 8 of the artillery laser rapiers because I wanted to fit in 6 Ogrins. So I got a hold of some Ogrins so I could bring those big thick boys. And they did absolutely nothing all weekend. They got shot off the board before they moved more than 7 inches out of their deployment
We
zone.
go to kill the big scary ogre.
That's exactly what happened to them. But it's fun.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So how'd your games go? Who'd you play? What'd you play?
I played John Christensen of the podcast, and he played Solar Ox as well. And it was a basic objective mission. There were 3 objectives. We were lined up in corners across from each other, and the objectives were essentially we placed them basically across in a line. So there's one right near my objective zone, one right near his, and then one dead in the middle. And it was a really interesting game because there's so many mechanics that interact. The Solar Ox have these mechanics that work really well when they're playing against Marines. Okay. The Tercio rule that allows them to react, everybody in the
entire combination.
Yes, entire combination, because you can select multiple squads within the same force organization chart. And if one of them can make a reaction for a shooting attack or to move, then everyone who is part of that tercio, so long as every individual squad is within 3 inches of each other, they can all return fire or move as well. What was funny, though, is because I'm playing against Solar Ox as well, if one of my squads shot one of John's squads or vice versa, each one of those individual squads got shot back at by 3 squads. So it was actually a safer strategic choice to not shoot each other.
Nice.
Because you'd kill each other more by shooting on your turn than you would by letting them shoot you on their turn. So mutually assured destruction.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I noticed that the primary colors for your army are red and what was the other one?
Red and blue.
And John's are
blue and red.
Blue and red. Yes. That was also one is Cobra,
yes,
which is an evil organization bent on overthrowing the world, and one is Malort, which is also an evil organization bent on overthrowing the world.
Or your taste buds.
Or your taste buds. Yeah.
So I thought that was rather fitting, as it was, in a way, kind of a red versus blue game.
Yes,
I saw that and I was like, now this
it's kind
is
of funny
entertaining to me.
Yeah, a lot of you guys took really cool pictures of that match, which was also hilarious because just there were at least there's like 250 infantry on the board for that game.
I come running over to take pictures of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty dumb. It was great. It was fun. And we were laughing frequently about just the preposterous nature of the whole thing.
Wonderful.
But the second game was a little weirder. I played against a guy who was playing, well, he called it Shattered Legions, but there weren't rules. There aren't rules. He was playing Iron Warriors, but he had intermixed in his squads all sorts of different colors and combinations. Like he had some White Scars and some Ultramarines and some. So I mean, his idea was that his praetor was Barnabas D'Antioch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's the combination idea. But he was playing the Hammer of Olympia, Rite of War. So I mean, it worked, and his models were painted nicely. But he had a really tough list. And I had a very silly list of 100 dudes. That one, we only made it to like 1.5 turns. So he got 2 turns and I got 1. And then we just kind of had to call it there. But so that was fun. But it was,
Okay, and your last game?
I only played 2.
Oh,
It was just 2 rounds.
Yep. Okay then.
Yep.
But he did play one more game.
He did play one more
But
game.
we're not going to talk about that right now.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
All right.
So Ben, what did you play?
So I've gotten a lot of games in here. Starting with Thursday, we were on Phoenix's front lines, and we had some wonderful matches. Goodness, it feels like we've been here a week,
right?
These 3 days. I played against a fantastic Space Wolves army, which inspired me for how I'm going to continue to paint my own Space Wolves project that I'm working on right now. So we had some great game there, and then I played against some Sons of Horus that were also stunning. And I've also got a Space Wolves or a Sons of Horus army that is also a work in progress because everything I have is a work in progress.
Isn't that Heresy?
Aren't they all?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Exactly.
That does make sense.
Yeah. So we had some great games there. They were both relatively new to the game. So the games, we didn't get a lot of turns in, but we still had a heck of a lot of fun. And I would definitely love to keep, play these guys. And they're all new people, mostly in my wheelhouse.
You did a lot of work with new people this weekend. You're doing the Lord's work with new people this weekend.
Yeah, I love I love playing against new people in all my gaming hobbies. I love bringing new people into D&D and into the Heresy. I think my boy is ready to start playing Warhammer now here
Nice.
so too soon. So it's all about bringing them in.
Just bringing the second generation of gamers.
Absolutely. And then on Friday, we got to do the tag team event, and I played with Joe's son. And we had a fantastic time as he's learning the game, and we tweaked some things along the way. Our opponents were fantastic and gracious and patient and helped teach him as well as we're working through everything. And we played some really fun, really tight games. Some were less tight. We got stomped in the first round, but it was stomped in a beautiful way. Like, I threw myself onto Sigismund's sword enthusiastically, and then his Blood Angels came in and tried to save the day, and I built him a stiff bill to cover. And then the next game we came in and we were in ambush mode. We were surrounded by Blood Angels on one side and Sons of Horus coming in on the other, and my Emperor's Children. We sold ourselves dearly, and we dueled absolutely everyone because that's how we roll. And he managed to just barely snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat, and won us the match, which was so sweet
and cool for him.
Yeah, it was great, and he was having a blast.
Yeah, that's
And,
awesome. Yeah, that's good.
And checking in at the end of a round with a new player and being like, "Are you having fun? Is there something you want to do differently? Anything we need to tweak or adjust as we move from round to round?" And just watching him get more and more confident in the list and how he's playing it as he goes through was also a delight. So I love that. And then by the time we got to the third round, it was a great match against some, again, gorgeously painted salamanders and Imperial fists. And I kind of had him dealing with the Imperial fist while I was fighting with the salamanders. It kind of became, two sides of the same coin. But it was another close game. We lost, but we lost with grace. And it's not about winning or losing. It's about having a blast as you're fighting the battles. And that is the important lesson, I think, because we didn't care if we were winning or losing, really. It was just about having a good time.
And that's all that really Adepticon's about.
Exactly. And making friends with the people across the table from you. And I don't think I didn't have a single opponent that I wouldn't want to play another game with.
That's great.
This year. And that is ideal to me. Sure. That is what I want. I just want to meet new people and just have a blast with them. And then we had the Praetor Fight Club, which was
what is this?
I can't talk about that.
What is Praetor Fight Club?
I didn't say anything. But
no, I think we officially can talk about it.
Oh, we can talk about it now? Oh.
Yeah. I think we can talk about it.
Oh, we have 3 former champions here in the room.
Well,
Praetor Fight Club.
There's only 2 former champions in this room, I believe.
Oh, you're wrong, sir. Because we had the tag team.
No, we are the former champions.
We're former champions.
See,
you are the current reigning champion. I apologize. I have presumed
let's do
you're lost next year.
Let's
sir.
pretend this is a film. Let's pretend this is like a film noir movie. This would be a point where the story would jump back in time for the flashback. Where
right scratch.
Yeah, exactly. So this whole segment of the podcast, which Ben and I were playing an Alpha Strike demo, and Duncan's like, "Hey, would you like to come record something?" And I should have known that this was all in service of a chance for Duncan to gloat about being the champion of the Praetor Fight Club. So, Duncan, would you like to tell us something about Praetor Fight Club?
It was fun.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, did you have a good time?
I did.
That's good.
I enjoyed playing it last year. I think I went out rather quickly last year.
Yeah.
I played my Sons of Horus Praetor last year.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Your generic Sons of Horus Praetor.
Yes, it was generic Sons of Horus Praetor number 433.
Right.
Yes, I recall him fondly.
Yes.
Yeah.
432 was that guy's a bitch. 433, what a stud.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he died.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
So
alas.
So this year I decided to play generic Blood Angels Praetor number 171.
Yeah. A true stud.
A Chad amongst Praetors.
Okay.
So,
In true Sons of Horus
so
fashion.
why don't you both of you tell us what Praetor Fight Club is all about?
So Praetor Fight Club has been going on for 3 years, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's only been 3 years. And so historically it's been Saturday night. It was moved to Friday night, which is probably a good idea considering the way we got kind of we ended up moved around. But it started as just kind of a random sort of thing where somebody found a wrestling ring miniatures board in the vendor hall, and we decided to do something where people just brought in a Praetor, and we just loosely, like as loosely as possible, set up a system of rules to have them fight each other. And we did
ad hoc. Last year we did, or last year, the year before, it was 1-on-1s. And
Yes.
then 2-on-2s.
Yes.
And then sometimes 2-on-1s.
Yeah.
And then this year it was more of a Rumble style.
Yeah.
Where there were 2 rings.
Yes. Which was great because as weird as it took us a while to get going because I feel like everyone had been having a really good time on Friday in the lead up. So like the getting it going took a little while. So it was good that we had 2 rings so that we could cycle through quicker in that regard.
It was.
Yeah.
So I believe last year.
Yes.
What happened last year? Because after I went out in round 1 really quickly, I went upstairs and went to sleep.
Yeah. So some people, when they lose, they get so sad they have to walk away from it and go away to hide from their failings. Other people will hang out until the end.
You're right.
Some people are different than others. But last year, we were just going through, and Ben and I, Ben was playing.
I had the initial round, and I had an early victory, and then close call though. Man, skin of my teeth. But then I got to sit out for a while as other people moved through the rounds. And then as things progressed, Ned's Praetor stepped into the ring.
Gogol from.
Absolutely.
Gogol from. This is Geigel from. Sorry, it's the apple juice I'm drinking.
Absolutely.
And what was Geigo from's entrance music, sir?
I don't remember what it was last year.
I don't remember either.
No. It was Take on Me by Aha. Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, we made it through, and then at the end, it went into there was like 6 people left, and Ben and I were both in the ring, and then it was down to I can't remember. Oh man, I wish I could remember this. Who we were down between. But Ben and I decided to not fight each other and fight the other people.
Yeah, and we had it had evolved, so we had done a lot of 1-on-1s.
Yeah,
and then it became all the people who'd won in their first rounds.
Yeah.
In a mass battle.
Yeah, admittedly, because at this point it was literally midnight, and the Adepticon team was kicking us forcibly out of the room. Ben and I declared ourselves tag team champions because we were the last 2 ones standing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We teamed up.
We
finished off the Space Wolf.
Yes.
And high-fived.
Yes.
And that was that.
Also, funnily enough, though, that was also Ben's 40th birthday at midnight that day. So it was a pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
But also, but I will say that we probably would have fought each other if not for the fact that we were actively being removed from the space.
That's fair.
But we ended. So we
ended.
ended.
Got Machinator raid right off the board.
That is probably true. But so we finished as champions, and then we came back this year, and and we got to set up for this one.
Well, you were in round 1, and I was in round 2.
That's correct.
So how did round 1 go for you?
Round 1, there were 8 people in round 1, and I killed 7 of them.
Okay.
But I ended with 1 wound left.
Okay.
And so then, and I don't remember I feel like last year we regenerated wounds between rounds.
I don't know. I never made it between them.
Yeah. And you were asleep because you went away to go rest.
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what it was.
I had the potential to generate wounds turn by turn as a salamander.
That's true. You did. But I think what happened then, what did happen this time was then I went and sat out. I had 1 wound left, and then you were in the second round, or were you in round 3?
I was in round 2 and round 3.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Okay.
So round 2, we had, I think it was 10 people in, because both the rings had 5 people.
Oh, okay.
So I was beside John. and John was trying to call out JP, but JP was in the other ring opposite ours.
Mm-hmm.
The initiative went fine. People started charging around, and no one charged at me. And then I went and I charged. I think it was a Blood Angels player.
Okay.
And I smacked him out in round, really like one round of combat.
Yep.
And then John had claws and rended someone else out in combat.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to kind of team up, and we cleared our ring together.
Okay.
And then we both got to the edge of the thing, or the edge of one ring, hopped over into the other, and proceeded to clear that ring.
Oh, okay. So you guys did a tag team as well.
We did a tag team as well.
Okay.
Then they did round 3, and it was John and myself. And John had, I think, 1 wound left at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 other people. I don't know who the other 2 people were. I charged one, knocked the other guy out. John charged the other guy and put the other guy out.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was you, myself, John, and I don't remember who the 4th person was.
Somebody with a Sons of Horus Praetor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
You know what's nice to know about this, though, is that at the start of the story, really the magic that allows this to happen is the friendship and camaraderie that Dale here was able to connect with his friend John. You know, and that's an unshakable bond.
We were a true epic tag team.
Oh,
from
you
the
were.
beginning.
You really were.
The absolute beginning.
Which is why the ending becomes so bittersweet.
Are you saying
Keep
friendship
going.
is magic?
Friendship was magic,
But heresy,
but heresy is
magic
magicer.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
So then we had our round.
Yes.
And
I killed the Sons of Horus Praetor.
You did.
I did. And then
then I believe you charged him.
oh no, I charged the Sons of Horus Praetor and killed him.
Okay. And then
John charged me. And I rolled a 1 on a regular armor save, and I only had 1 wound left. So I died.
You had feel no pain, I believe.
Oh yeah, and I failed to feel no pain. Yep.
So then you died.
I did.
And then I came off the ropes.
Yes.
With a hammer of wrath.
Yes.
With my jump praetor right into John, and elbow dropped him, or literally clotheslined him out of the ring and into defeat.
So for listeners, if they're keeping track, the year before, the championship was decided in a moment of friendship and camaraderie, where 2 friends decided that because one of them was having a birthday and because they were so close and they'd done it together, that they ended on a high note together. And then this year, God, it's just a different narrative altogether.
It's almost like the Sons of Horus are betrayers and traitors, and the Salamanders and Iron Hands are not.
Are 2 friends.
So I'll let you know, sir. I had a Blood Angel.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
I Blood Angel's Praetor.
I apologize. Sanguinius would be so happy to hear about this.
Well, to be as absolutely fair as possible, this is wrestling. This is Praetor Fight Club.
That's right. Heel turns are what we
I
want,
have seen
kids.
the Mega Powers working together to win matches.
That's true.
Then I saw Savage and Hogan turn on one another.
That's 100% true. It's true.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And then yes, but this is nice though, because then what this does, you see, Duncan believes that this is his victory lap, but this is really just the setup for the return of a dynamic duo of friendship. Absolutely. That was wronged and see, this is like, we're like at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Okay. That's what's happening right now.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi is coming.
Next year, I won't forget my Salamander.
And also, you forgot your fucking Salamander.
And I will actually bring
Yes.
him, and not just my Emperor's
right.
Children Praetor. Although, let's face it, Del Sion, the Immaculate, did have the most epic entrance.
He did have a good entrance.
So,
yes, which we
we'll
probably
leave
don't
it
want
at
to
that.
talk about for that. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And for everybody curious, I too went upstairs and went to bed both years. Had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, we got it started, and Jack's just sitting back there. You're sitting here, you got your arms folded over your chest. I'm like, hey, man, come on. And he just, very simple, like, side tut of the head, like, no.
Yeah, I remember walking over there, sitting down, having a drink, and literally turning and seeing Jack go, and kind of stand up, turn around, and walk out of the room.
That was it.
And I was like,
That's the moment.
He's going to bed.
He's going to bed. That's fair.
He's going to bed.
Done. Admittedly, it's one of the things that,
But
like,
I would like people to know.
Oh, sorry.
I am a fighting champion. I have already I've already participated in one unsanctioned match.
Unsanctioned?
After our fight.
Was that a sanctioned match?
It was a
unsanctioned.
It was a non-title sanctioned match.
Non-title
match.
Sanctioned match.
That means the belt is not on the line.
belt's not on the
However,
line.
it is the official match on the card.
And an Ultramarines Praetor charged
For those who don't know wrestling.
and failed his charge.
Oh.
And then I charged him off the ropes and smacked him out of the ring as well.
One fall. The following match?
Yeah. I mean,
has been scheduled.
It was pretty much just
it was the
finish
Monday
removing
Night
it.
Live.
This was like a Goldberg WCW squash match.
Yeah. For those of you who are listening and have seen the pictures, though, you definitely will have seen. I mean, we got to talk about the belt that JP and Zach made.
Yes.
For this,
my
which
God.
was so
Magical.
cool. It was so cool.
It's gorgeous.
And I will tell you this, like, with all seriousness applied to this, no more jests or whatever. I'm not saying I don't wish I would have won, but I was glad that I didn't have to carry the belt around all day on Saturday, because I did have to do that on Friday, and the thing is just kind of uncomfortable and unwieldy to hold while you're
a good 30 pounds.
It is, but it's just like you're trying to like roll dice or talk to people or whatever, and you've got to. It's like,
it's large and awkward.
It is large and awkward.
It
But
is.
yeah.
Like so.
But it
many
will
of
be
us.
but you, dear listener, if you are interested in coming and trying to take it from Duncan's cowardly hands,
So dead hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Yeah, well,
All right, so they needed to clean the room up, so we had to vacate. But anyway, listeners, if you would like to come and challenge for the belt, you should definitely do so. Make sure you bring a Praetor to Adepticon 2025. It's going to be just as awesome next year as it was this year.
Select your entrance music, because everyone has to have unique entrance music of whatever kind you personally choose.
Yep.
And have all the fun. It will be sign-ups next year for it.
Oh,
So
really?
It's going to be an officially sanctioned Adepticon event.
Really?
We're no longer going to be underground.
That's hilarious.
Yep. That way they can't kick us out.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you very much for this very special edition of the Heresy Accountability Buddies. Remember to stay accountable to yourself and your buddies, and stay away from the spicy apple juice.
And I'm back again. This is, of course, Duncan with the Heresy Accountability Buddies. And I'm sitting here in the Charger that Jack and I drove to Adepticon in. And Jack is driving, and I'm riding as the passenger princess, as I should.
He is a pretty passenger princess.
Yes. And we are heading home from Adepticon, Adepticon 2024. We've had a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of really good friends. We've made new friends. We've seen cool armies. We've seen beautifully painted armies. We've seen the Golden Demon. We've seen entries in the Golden Demon that look amazing. We've seen pretty much everything that you can see at Adepticon. We've spent money. We've had decent food. And we will go into that a lot more in depth in another episode following this one. But for today, Jack, how was your Adepticon 2024?
It was fantastic. The big thing that, happened this year through choice of my own and some physical stuff was a very relaxed Adepticon. My stomach wasn't feeling the best Thursday, so I took Thursday off, and it was a good call. Got to sit around, shoot the crap with a lot of people I don't get to see very often. A good time was had by all. Bourbon was drunk by all. And I got to make fun of a lot of people, which just feels right. Also discovered that apparently Duncan was there for the moon landing. Found that out when he was talking to JP.
Yes, because that conversation made so much sense.
It made no sense. But that was fantastic, and that's a conversation with JP at Adepticon. You never know what he's going to say or not say.
Yeah, I wish I had a chance to record an interview with JP, because I think that would have been fun. Unfortunately, I didn't. JP, I will try to connect with you and maybe get your thoughts on Adepticon recorded sometime. We'll see what we can work out.
So how was your trip up to Adepticon, Jack?
It was the normal 6-hour drive. It was good. I think we had a lot of good Adepticon talk.
We did. We
had a lot of good Army talk.
We did.
And I think we did not almost die on the way there. Cannot be said for the same on the way back because we almost died before recording this part right here.
Yeah. Probably because people don't know how to drive and they don't want to stop and dance around in lanes in the middle of the interstate.
Driving is hard, okay?
Yeah, it is. So
yourself? How about your trip up there?
I drove up with my best friend Jack. We had a long conversation about what we would like to plan out for an Army for the team game next year. I think we've settled on what we're going to do for that. We talked a lot about who we wanted to see, things we wanted to do, which for me, Adepticon, as the years are going on, the games that I play, yes, they're definitely a huge part of the hobby for me because the hobby is there and that's what it is about. But in some ways, Adepticon's becoming more and more about seeing friends that I don't get to see but once or twice a year at most. People like JP, people like John, people like so many people, and meeting a lot of people for the first time this Adepticon, meeting some listeners, hanging out with them, seeing Chris Bergeron,
getting yelled at by Chris Bergeron,
getting to play a game with Chris Bergeron and Jeremy,
and then getting yelled at some more by Chris Bergeron,
and getting to team up against Jack and Chris Bergeron,
and then getting yelled at by Chris Bergeron
because Jeremy convinced me to betray Jack and join him in fighting Chris Bergeron and Jack, and it was a wonderful, fun game. I played 5 games, 2 in Ferrix and 3 in the team tournament, and then I played in the Praetor Fight Club, and I'll discuss the Praetor Fight Club. Well, actually, we've already discussed the Praetor Fight Club.
Yeah.
With
that
Ned.
Should be before this.
Okay. Other than that, I've spent some time roaming the Heresy Hall, looking at armies, talking to people. I spent time in the vendor hall, looking at stuff. I didn't spend a lot of money this year. I did buy stuff to make 2 tables. I made some arrangements to get some mats for 2 tables for my house. I looked at a lot of paint. I tried out a couple new paints. Wasn't really impressed with some of the stuff I tried, but some of it was definitely interesting. Unfortunately, I did miss the Monument Hobbies Adepticon set and their 4th set. Is it the other one?
They have Ninjon. They
Vince.
have the guy that used to like the not bodies of a beagle, but the vulture, blue vulture. Vince.
Ventrella?
Yeah, and then there's 2 other guys that
Matt Sexwish.
And somebody else. And then they have somebody with, I think, a unicorn as a logo, and then another person.
Okay, well, all the new sets that were available at Adepticon were already gone when I got down there. So I did miss that. I am going to have to try to order those from Monument Hobbies website, which I'm definitely going to do because I want more of those paints. And I want every single one of those sets. I was actually kind of underwhelmed in many ways with the vendor hall. There were a lot of people spilling out of the vendor hall into the hallways, and some of them...
So many vendors.
Some of them were it looked like they were selling 3D printed terrain, 3D printed buildings, and they weren't really selling them for what I would consider to be a fair market value.
There you go.
I would consider them not to be fair market value. I would consider them to be significantly on the overpriced value.
Not trying to, because I'm sure we'll cover it in the full cast episode, but one of the big takeaways, and this is not a dig at anybody, is that the vendor hall seemed really full this year, full of vendors, which is fantastic.
But cramped.
But it was, you were on top of each other even on like Thursday and Friday before everybody got there. and the amount of vendors that they had spilling out. Like, there's always a couple here and there, but just going off the top of my head, upstairs alone, they had 6 vendors upstairs. Downstairs was easily probably another 10, not counting the bits guy. And then in the main hallway, Catalyst had their big booth. Elric Hobbies was actually out in the hallway, along with probably like 3 other vendors. One with a lifestyle backpack.
We actually took a look at that, and it definitely looked interesting.
Yeah, I think it's more for small games than the big games that we play as far as model counts.
I agree.
Also, I felt like they were very much a square peg trying to fit into a round hole to find a new market.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It definitely seemed like it was a niche type backpack. Yeah. And as we referenced earlier, Heresy is a niche of a niche of a niche. Mm-hmm. And that backpack felt like it just did not fit for any of our needs. But that's understandable.
But like if you're doing RPGs or stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I did not get a chance to pick up Beta Garmin, despite my extreme hope that Games Workshop would have copies there at Adepticon, but instead it was just available for pre-order. I have not pre-ordered my copy yet. I plan to do that the minute I get home and get everything situated. I will log on to there and see if it's still available for pre-order, and if it's not, then I'll just order a copy through my friendly local. Mm-hmm. I did see some stuff from pictures that people have posted online of what appears to be Shattered Legions or Black Shields. I'm not certain which, to be honest. And some of those definitely look like they're combining kits from maybe Necromunda, maybe the Imperial Guard range, or the Asher Militarum range, maybe stuff from Solarox. I'm not really sure. It looked different. And we've had the rules preview of some of the stuff for the Black Shields and for the Shattered Legions. And I'll be honest, there's a number of reviews out there that people can go and read if they wish to do so. From the little I've seen, obviously I can't give you a hot take. I can't even give you a tiny take, or let alone an in-depth review. But the rules don't seem too bad when you look at it from a narrative standpoint for the game. If you were looking at it from a competitive standpoint, they seem a little bit clunky, but it still seems like something that could be fun and bring flavor to different armies.
Yeah, and I'm good with them releasing these books, especially if they keep adding new stuff to the game. They seem to have a whole entire campaign element in there, which we knew was going to happen. So, here's hoping that they keep building upon that like they did in the Seas of Cathonia.
Yep.
And then we have the big GW reveal.
Of a picture of Mars.
Yeah. There was a lot of mixed reviews about that. But the good thing is, plastic, mechanical.
Yeah.
So,
I can't complain about that at all.
That should be the big takeaway for everybody. Like, I know it wasn't as much information as we want, but the fact that we're getting plastic mechanical, that's the important takeaway from it.
Yeah, and I actually really look forward to the possibility of a plastic mechanicum starter box. That really kind of rustles my jimmies quite a bit.
Yeah, I would love to start a mechanicum army. I don't think I'm smart enough to start a mechanicum army, but I'd love to start one.
Yeah. And mechanicum armies always look beautiful when done right.
Yeah.
Case in point, Chris Bergeron's army was
beautiful,
absolutely gorgeous, and it's straight mechanicum. So, yeah, if they put those out in plastic, I would definitely pick up a starter box just to have an allied mechanicum force at the very least. We also got the preview of the White Scars Magyar Mazin, the guy who was a loyalist, who turned traitor, then turned back to loyalist.
Was that the Thursday?
That was the Thursday.
I think I saw a picture of him briefly. It was some dude in white.
Yes. Well, he's a White Scar, so he's in white armor.
So my statement stands correct. Some dude in white.
Yes, some dude in white.
Stand by what I said.
His rules look cool. He definitely looks like an interesting character to have as a warlord. The model, I really like that. It looks like it's got some neat conversion opportunities there. I really liked his blade. I believe that's supposed to be a specific power blade or power glaive that he uses or whatever, but it definitely looked awesome. I gotta say that. So, looking forward to that. I walked over to the LI Hall, looked at some of the games they were playing over there with Mark Rayleigh, and the games looked awesome. People looked like they were having fun. People looked like they were greatly enjoying the bag, the big ass game that Jason Tick runs for Titans and everything. That looked like a lot of fun with people. I look forward to trying that next year. We'll see. I do have a Titan I need to put together and paint.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. So we'll have to see. Beyond all that, I really enjoyed this year's Adepticon. Even though I didn't feel as involved as I have in the past, because I didn't spend pretty much every day packing in playing games. I didn't play any games Saturday. I took a long sleep in the morning to recover from the drinking on Friday night. And
Being a champion's hard.
It is. I had to rest up and recuperate from claiming the title.
Carrying that belt around?
Carrying that belt around. And I really actually enjoyed taking that last day to just rest, do stuff, sit around, see friends, shoot the shit, and really just enjoy downtime during the con. So my overall thoughts of Adepticon 2024 are, I'm, as always, glad I was able to go. I enjoyed myself. I was happy to see people. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, would recommend. Jack, you got anything else?
Circling back around to the vendor hall, one the good thing about it being as jam-packed as it is, there's a lot of stuff to see, and a lot of people are now, for better or worse, designing stuff specifically for our hobby. So, you know, anything that shines the spotlight on the hobby as a whole is a good thing. And anything people can bring from different backgrounds to it is good. So yeah.
Oh, we also did drop the new poster, the
super secret poster.
The super secret never trust Erebus poster.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got those. Those went over well. All the posters were well received at the con. I am going to drop the Never Trust Erebus poster onto the web store and have that available probably tonight. And I will have posters available because I did bring a number of posters home. So those will be available for people to order through us if they want to get hold of us. They can get hold of me through the Facebook, through the Discord, through our website, heresypodcast.com, to get those. And yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all I got too. Thank you for joining us on this part of our drive, listeners. I look forward to seeing each of you at Adepticon 2025 or in the Discord just hanging out. One final announcement I do want to make. One thing a lot of people at Adepticon asked for was a regular hobby night on the hobby hangout. So we are going to try to do a minimum of 1 hobby hangout on the Discord for hobby night every week. I don't know how many cast members will appear each week, but I know that we'll try to have rotating hosts through weekly. We'll see. That is right now tentatively going to be scheduled on Wednesdays, right around 8 p.m. Eastern. Flexibility in the scheduling going forward, but that is the plan currently. So thank you to everybody I saw. Thank you to everyone we got to hang out with. It was lovely seeing you all. Remember, stay accountable to yourself, stay accountable to your buddies, stay accountable to your hobby, and we'll talk to you next time.